Chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment prohibits the EPA from using funds for actions pursuant to Section 115 of the Clean Air Act. Section 115 of the Clean Air Act allows the EPA to mandate state emissions levels to whatever level the agency deems appropriate if they find the following: U.S. emissions endanger a foreign nation, and the endangered nation has a reciprocal agreement to prevent or control these emissions in their own nation. That sounds complicated and screwed up, because it is. Our EPA deciding what we do in our states based on their agreement with some other nation about what's happening in their nation shouldn't have an impact on our states. But this is a backdoor provision which allows the EPA to vastly expand its regulatory authority and encroach on the right of the states to regulate their own energy sectors based on the actions of a foreign nation and a determination of the executive branch solely, without any input from this branch. It is irresponsible to allow unelected bureaucrats at the EPA to retain the ability to seize this expansive authority. If the U.S. government wants to pursue such a policy, one that, in my opinion, is constitutionally suspect, but be that as it may, it should be done through an explicit congressional delegation of authority on a case-by-case basis. Now, a similar amendment has passed the House during previous interior and environmental appropriation packages, I know, because I've offered it, so I'm hoping that my colleagues will do the same on this one and take back our Article I authority and support this amendment, and I reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentlewoman from Maine is recognized. For what purpose do you rise?
I rise to oppose this amendment.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Section 115 of the Clean Air Act is essential. It enables the United States to work with other nations to address transboundary air pollution. As we've seen recently, while Canada was experiencing historic wildfires, that pollution knows no boundaries and can travel anywhere, whether by air or water. We cannot address these environmental issues on our own, and we must work with other nations. Prohibiting the EPA from implementing Section 115 of the Clean Air Act is short-sighted, and I oppose this amendment. I yield back my time.
Gentlewoman yields. The gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized.
I thank the chair. This goes exactly to the Paris Climate Accord. When Section 115 was written, along with the rest of the Clean Air Act, the Paris Climate Accord did not exist. And it's not a treaty. We haven't signed it, but yet we're bound to it as long as the executive branch wants to use it, and a foreign government says that our government is polluting their country. It is absolutely absurd. It was never envisioned by the EPA. I think that they had good intentions, and I agree with those good intentions at the time. But since the Paris Climate Accord has been agreed to by this administration, this is a dangerous precedent to set. It's dangerous to allow it to be there. As again, I said, this has passed in previous appropriations debates. That's very amendment, and I would just encourage the members to vote in favor of it again this time to make sure that we're controlling our country, that states can control their states, and we don't rely on foreign governments to control our country. And with that, I yield the ballots.
The gentleman yields. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Pennsylvania. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. It is now in order to consider the amendment